Hello noble ones and welcome to Metatron's Academy, the channel where we explore how to learn languages in the most fun and effective way. Today I'd like to debunk a myth that I've heard being repeated over and over again, particularly by some of those students that are not very confident in their ability to get results and learn to speak languages properly. Learning a language requires a lot of memorization. You need to remember thousands of words in order to become conversational. So what do you do if you are bad at memory? What if you've got a bad memory? How can you be successful in something that requires excellent memory when you are struggling to remember even the most basic of words? Are you in a position where you have to just simply give up and decide that learning language is not for you? No. I think one of the most common myths that I've noticed and encountered in my 15 plus years of experience in teaching students coming from all sorts of backgrounds, with all sorts of experiences and of all sorts of ages, ranging from children to elderly people, is the idea and conviction that some people have that, they just have a bad memory and that's why they can't just remember words. Well, this is actually a huge myth. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I have taught some of these students, and guess what? Their memorization went from, I can't remember anything, to, gosh, I remember everything you said. Now, was it because of me? No. It was because of these two stumbling blocks. Stumbling block number one, if you are one of these people, it's not that you have bad memory. Your brain functions exactly as well as mine. It's just that you don't know how to memorize. It's a matter of technique. More on that in a minute. Stumbling block number two, you have repeated this over and over again to the point that you have literally convinced yourself that you are bad with memorization or that you've got a bad memory. What's really important to understand is that memorization is very much of a skill, and as such it needs to be practiced and you need to know how to do it. There is a plethora of memorization techniques that can help you remember everything like this. So really, if you are frustrated because you've spent years trying to remember these words and you just read them, you read the page, you read your book, and you just don't remember it. You hear someone say it on a video and then you think you know it, but you get a phone call and you're off your phone call and you're like, oh gosh, what was the word again? Or even worse, you think you really have got it this time. Like you've been reading it over and over again and you're sure, you're confident, okay, I know how to say fried rice in the language I'm trying to learn, but then a few weeks pass by, a few months pass by, and then you are in that situation, the scenario that you had been repeating over and over in your head, that you were preparing for, and there is the native, and you need to know how to say that word, and when you need it the most, it's gone. The problem here is a memorization technique. Now, of course, I will make a dedicated video to my top 10 techniques that work for memorizing words, so make sure to subscribe to the channel and join Metatron's Academy. But today I want to give you an example on why sometimes memorization works and other times words are just gone. The reason is that when you read something on a piece of paper, well, first of all, that is the most boring way to try to gain vocabulary. But on the other hand, even if you hear someone say something, the word is still not yours. You see, there is a huge difference between short-term memory and long-term memory. If I tell you now, 2, 3, 4, 1, 6. 2, 3, 4, 1, 6. 2, 3, 4, 1, 6. You know it, but you don't. In reality, you see, I've already lost it. That set of number was in your short-term memory. And the moment I said something else, the moment I laughed a little bit, it was gone. Now, this was a little bit of a drastic example, but it really, really fits. And sometimes it can last a little longer than that, the short-term memory, in the sense that you could remember maybe how to say, let's say, spear in Italian, we say lancia. And you could remember it because, just it sounds nice, you say it, you like how you say it, lancia. But then the moment you need it, maybe after a couple of days, when you learn new words, well, the problem with short-term memory is that it's a memory that gets replaced. So the moment you learn something new, that thing is gone and it's gone forever. So the issue is not that you have a bad memory, it's that you are trying to use short-term memory to remember stuff in the way that long-term memory does. So how do you make sure to switch from short-term memory to long-term memory so that you will always remember the information and the thousands of words that you need in order to become conversational in a foreign language? Well, as I was saying, there are plenty of techniques But on this video I want to tell you one thing which is really the basis for all the techniques that I will talk about on subsequent videos. And that is daily repetition. Now really think about it. Let's say that you are an Italian speaker. There is a word in Italian that we all Italian use. It's an English word and it's the word stretching. I can assure you that no Italian born in our day and age ever uses the Italian counterpart, which I think would be allungamento muscolare or something like that. Unless you are like a technical trainer or instructor, everyone in Italy uses the English word stretching. Faccio un po' di stretching. Voglio andare a fare stretching. Just put a little accent there, but the word is English. So, will these Italians that use this word, which isn't Italian, ever forget it? No. Why? Because it became part of their, not even daily, but their routine vocabulary. Another similar example is the word computer. Will you ever forget the word computer, regardless of what language you speak? Well, I guess if you speak Spanish, where I believe they use ordenador, instead of computador like they do in South American Spanish or Mexican, I believe, then I can understand maybe they don't use computer as much, but in Italian, computer. In Japanese, computer. If you use the word, you will not forget it. So, you can imagine that one of the tricks is to substitute the vocabulary for the one in your own language. Now really try it. I'm challenging you. Try this one today. I'm going to teach you now a couple of words in Italian, and then I'll ask you to do something with these words in the next 24 to 48 hours, and then you come back here and tell me if it worked in the comments. Let's look at this guy. Now, I'm not teaching you how to say Ninja Turtle, but I'm teaching you how to say red, the color. So in Italian, red is pronounced rosso, rosso. If you close the video right now, maybe you'll remember it, most likely you'll forget it in a few days, but try this. As this video finishes today, you take your word rosso and you write it down on a piece of paper, then hide the piece of paper, put it in your pocket. If you remember it with your short-term memory, every time you see something red around you, say it. Make a sentence using the word rosso. Interestingly enough, all I'm asking you to do is to substitute the word red for the word rosso. The rest of the sentence can stay in your first language or English, it doesn't matter. So you can say this Ninja Turtle and you could say, oh, Raphael is the Ninja Turtle that wears rosso. Hey, look, I've got a Nintendo Switch game. The side here is rosso. You don't even need to do it that many times. As long as you do this daily, you could do it a couple of times in the afternoon. Go to the kitchen, talk to your mom, talk to your friend, talk to your wife or husband and tell them, hey, you know, maybe today my favorite color is rosso. And they'll tell you, is what? And you tell them, oh, that's just red in Italian, rosso. Tell them, use it, make an excuse. You're eating something, if you see something red, you could say, hey, look at that, my apple, the color is rosso. You do that for a couple of days, I swear you'll never forget it. Why? Because it's becoming part of your routine vocabulary. Now this is just one of the many different tips and tricks that can help you move a word literally from your short-term memory to your long-term memory. There are many more, but the key is repetition, mostly daily repetition in a constant chain of events tells your brain that you need that word. Instead, if you just repeat the word rosso 50 times one day and then you don't say it ever again for like a week or 2 weeks, you're just telling your brain you don't need that word. You just need it in that instance. So, short-term memory is. But if you use the word every day, even if it's like 10 minutes, 5 minutes, but every day, you are telling your brain, I need this. I need it every day. That's why a professional is a professional. Someone becomes a professional at his job because of the fact that it is their job, and so it's what you do every day to feed your family. You can become a professional at memorization. You just need to make sure to move words from short-term memory to long-term memory. Best way to do that? Daily repetition, even if it's a little bit every day, and maybe switching up vocabulary with your own native vocabulary within your sentences is one of the many techniques that we will explore on this channel. But for this video, all I want you to remember is, if you've been telling yourself you're bad at memorization, you're wrong. You can learn thousands of words as long as you do it the right way. Alright, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have other questions, or you want specific tutorials, or you want me to teach or talk about a specific language, please let me know in the comments below. And thank you very much for joining Metatron's Academy. Thank you very much for watching, and remember, the Metatron has spread his wings. Goodbye.